It was just an ordinary afternoon when I hopped on my motorbike and headed toward the supermarket. The streets were relatively quiet, and the breeze carried the faint scent of distant cooking. I wasn't expecting anything unusual, just a quick trip to grab some groceries and head home. But life often places the extraordinary in the middle of the mundane. As I turned a corner near an old alley, something caught my eye, a small, shaggy figure moving slowly along the side of the road. I slowed down. It was a dog. A very dirty, disheveled dog. Its fur, once white, was now a matted coat of dust, trash, and dead leaves. The strands were so long they hung over its eyes, almost blinding it. What struck me most, though, was the thick chain tightly wound around its body. It looked like it had been there for days, if not longer. The metal links had left marks on its skin, and the poor creature seemed to drag the weight of it with every painful step. I parked my bike and watched it carefully. The dog slowly approached, circling my motorbike with cautious steps. Then it did something that caught me completely off guard. It sniffed my foot and lingered. There was something eerily familiar in that gesture. It felt known, as if this dog, this neglected, silent creature, somehow remembered me. Or maybe it was I who remembered something, some distant feeling of companionship, trust, or perhaps guilt. Kneeling down, I gently reached for the chain. It had been wrapped several times around its small body, the loops tight and rusted. Bit by bit, I untangled it. The dog stood still, no resistance, only soft breaths and the occasional whimper. When the last of the chain clattered to the ground, it looked up at me with eyes barely visible through the dirty fur. There was no bark, no sudden movement, just a long, quiet gaze. I climbed back on my motorbike, unsure of what to do next. But as I rode slowly away, I heard soft footsteps behind me. The dog was following. Not barking, not begging, just following. Block after block, it kept trailing behind, refusing to let me out of sight. It didn't matter how many times I stopped and signaled it to stay. It was determined. That was when I knew. I couldn't leave it behind. I didn't want to. Instead of heading to the supermarket, I changed directions and rode straight to the veterinary hospital. The vet took one look at the dog and sighed. "Poor thing," he said, gently lifting it onto the table. The next hour was a blur. She shaved off every last bit of its dirty, tangled fur, revealing a fragile but beautiful body beneath. Its skin was bruised in places from the chain, and its frame was thin from days without proper food. After the medical check, I brought it home. I filled a warm tub and gently bathed it myself. The water turned brown almost instantly, and with every rinse, layers of dirt and sadness washed away. Once clean, I dried it carefully with a towel, wrapped it up warmly, and dressed it in a soft little outfit I picked up from a nearby pet shop. It looked almost like a completely different dog. Then I placed a bowl of food and water in front of it. The dog didn't eat right away. Instead, it walked over to me, stood there for a moment, and then, without warning, tears rolled down from its eyes. Actual tears. I was stunned. It lay down beside me, curled up, and fell into the deepest, most peaceful sleep I'd ever seen in an animal. As if finally, after days, maybe weeks of fear, hunger, and pain, it had found a place where it could let go. And from that day on, it was no longer just a stray. It was mine. Or maybe I was it. One quiet afternoon, desperate cries shattered the calm by a busy roadside. Drivers slowed or stopped, trying to find the source. Near a lamppost by the pavement, a tiny puppy was trapped, stuck and helpless. Its head was wedged tightly between two iron bars of a roadside gate, completely immobilized. The rest of its body trembled as it cried out, its voice hoarse with fear and exhaustion. It had likely been stuck there for a while, struggling and panicking, until it no longer had the strength to resist. Its little legs pushed at the ground in vain. unable to free itself. Concerned onlookers quickly called for help, and not long after, a police patrol car arrived. 2 officers stepped out and approached the frightened pup with care. One knelt beside it, speaking in a calm, soothing voice, trying to reassure it that help was finally here. The other gently held the puppy's body steady while examining how its head was caught. Using a bit of water and gentle pressure, the officers worked patiently. Then, with one careful motion, they slid the puppy's head free from the narrow bars. As soon as it was released, the puppy let out a surprised little yelp of both relief and fear, and stumbled backward before being gently scooped up by one of the officers. He held the puppy close to his chest, stroking its back softly to calm it down. The dog, though still trembling, didn't resist. Its tail wagged slightly, as if grateful for the kindness. The officer whispered something to it, a quiet reassurance, and carried it to the patrol car. From there, they drove straight to the nearest veterinary hospital. At the clinic, the staff moved quickly but gently. They laid the puppy down on a soft blanket and began examining it with care. A stethoscope was used to listen to its heartbeat and check its breathing. They took its temperature, cleaned its ears, and carefully felt its small belly to check for any injuries. Thankfully, aside from minor scratches and the stress of the ordeal, the puppy was in good shape. After a thorough cleaning, the puppy looked like a completely different dog. Its fur, which had been dirty and matted, now shone with a healthy sheen. Its wide eyes sparkled with curiosity, and for the first time since being rescued, it let out a tiny bark as if announcing, "I'm okay now." The officers stayed at the clinic for a while, making sure the puppy was safe and comfortable. Eventually, the little pup was placed in a foster home, where it would wait to be adopted. But it didn't take long. A family who had heard about the story came forward and offered to give the puppy a new life. In its new home, the puppy quickly adjusted. It was shy at first, but that didn't last long. With a full belly and a warm bed, it began to show its playful side. I remember the first time I fed it how eagerly it ate, tail wagging, as if trying to say thank you with every bite. It finished every drop of milk and nibbled happily at soft food. Later that day, it ventured out into the yard, where a few other dogs were already playing. At first, it stood to the side, unsure. But then one of the older dogs came over and nudged it gently, inviting it into the game. In no time at all, the puppy was running across the grass, chasing tails and tumbling with joy, as if the memory of being stuck on the roadside had faded completely. Now, it has a name, a family, and a future. From fear to freedom, from being trapped to being treasured. This little puppy's journey is a reminder of the power of compassion, and the difference a few helping hands can make in a life that almost slipped through the cracks.